Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook. And today is Tuesday, September 27th. What a pleasure to be here with you today. The weather's getting cooler, the mornings are fresher, and I am just excited because I can smell the fall. Almost literally, not quite yet, but we're almost there. Anyhow, what a pleasure to be here today. As you know, this is Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live on Facebook Monday through Saturdays, where we take a look at news from our city and our state and our country. And we take the ones that apply to us or might have something to do with our quality of life or our ability to better appreciate the way Mexico thinks and works and feels and sounds and tastes and smells. And we combine that with your questions, your ideas, your thoughts, and the occasional bit of news from NASA and the occasional Mexican Karen items. We just try to find news that help us feel good about living here as a community of English-speaking people in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And that's who we are. That's what we do. If you're joining us live for the first time, feel free to let us know by writing the word new, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. If you usually watch us on YouTube, well, we don't have live commenting on YouTube, but we love you very much nonetheless and appreciate the fact that you click like and subscribe and you follow us. Every time you click like, somebody takes a bite into a Butterfinger and says, "Oh my God, how delicious this is." There you go. Anyhow, today we have all kinds of news, from how are we coping with face masks, some local buses, to daylight savings is coming and what's going to happen in Mexico, a couple of updates on projects that were announced, and NASA, speaking of, went out and made a big mess in the universe for the first time ever. We're going to talk about that in case you missed it. And what do you say we get started? Well, for starters, face masks in public transportation seem to be increasingly problematic for some. I have to admit that the more we distance ourselves from the worst of the pandemic, the more I see public transportation passengers that are disregarding the mandate. It happened to me yesterday when I was taking a bus home. Passengers come up on the bus and the drivers will say, "Put on your face mask," or "Put the face mask on." And people sometimes obey, people sometimes don't obey, and sometimes they take it off. And what are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to make a choice of dealing with it or not. The bottom line is we are still expected to wear face masks in public transportation in Puerto Vallarta and the rest of the state. And we happen to know, because this is what we mentioned last time we addressed this topic, that the health board will meet again in October to determine whether we can, as a matter of fact, stop wearing them or not. But in the meantime, if your friendly bus driver tells you to wear a face mask, just put one on. It's not going to hurt you. It's simple. Moving on, by the book, daylight savings in Mexico would go into effect this year at midnight, October 31st, but we still don't know if this will actually happen this year or not, as the elimination of daylight savings altogether is still being discussed in Congress. The Chamber of Deputies has an energy commission, and they approved the elimination yesterday with 22 votes for and 11 against it. And now the proposal moves to the Senate, and it is expected to be discussed tomorrow. Now, if Mexico's Senate approves elimination, we would switch to so-called winter schedule on October 31st and remain there moving forward. But this hasn't been decided yet. We're not losing sleep over this one, pun intended, but I thought you'd like to know. Oh, speaking of pun intended, we lost that. Our pun meister has moved to the United States, but Raymond promised that he would be keeping an eye on the broadcast. So we hope to hear and see your puns sometime soon, Raymond. I hope your trip back to the U.S. was very successful. We are thinking about you today. And speaking of today, today in history, a lot of things have happened in Mexico. I'm going to highlight a few. Well, for starters, look at this gorgeous image of Chapultepec Castle in Mexico City. If you haven't visited this beautiful place, it is totally worth visiting it. But before we get to the castle, let us know that today, on a day like today, in 1821, is when the Mexican independence was finally accomplished after 11 years of battles. Today is the date in which Mexico's independence became a reality back in 1821. In 1822, a year later, a treaty was signed between Guatemala and Mexico that finally established the specific boundaries between both countries. And in 1944, at Chapultepec Castle, the National History Museum was inaugurated. As an aside, I have to tell you that my fondest memories of Chapultepec Castle, and I was talking about this with a friend of mine just the other day, is that as a child, my father used to take me to Chapultepec Castle for the Sunday matinees with, it was either the Mexico Symphony Orchestra or also usually the State of Mexico Symphony Orchestra that would perform Sunday matinees up at the castle. And some of my earliest orchestral music memories come from this beautiful place and these wonderful concerts. Ooh, a car just went by with fabulous music. Anyhow, well, as you can see, our Governor Alfaro, can add a new skill to his resume, as he has now learned how to put stickers in cars' windshields. Jalisco's Transportation Secretary informed that starting today and until September 30th, the new holographic stickers for taxis and platform vehicles are being distributed here in Puerto Vallarta for users like you and I to be able to scan and corroborate that we are, as a matter of fact, riding on a lawfully authorized vehicle that can schlep us from one place to another. The sticker has a QR code that guarantees a higher level of security for users, and we recall that there was an individual here in Puerto Vallarta associated with InDriver that just last month was selling similar stickers, but these were not legally sanctioned by the government. And apparently people are rolling their eyes about the Boca de Tomatlan Pier because it was scheduled to close yesterday to begin the remodeling or reconstruction work that was promised by the state government. They even came and flyered to that effect. However, this did not happen, at least not yesterday. In addition, a provisional dock, a temporary dock, was supposed to be built, and it hasn't. And now water taxi captains, are now concerned that the existing dock might have shaken a bit too much during the recent earthquakes. What will happen here? We have no idea, but we'll definitely keep you posted. Should you find yourself taking a water taxi in Boca de Tomatlan, however, just watch your step to be the least of things that you want to do. You just want to be careful. And in the other end of the bay, Nayarit keeps taking back pieces of land that belong to the state and may have been sold unlawfully in the past government administration. Now, they have seized a piece of land along Cocoteros Avenue in Nuevo Nayarit, or formerly Nuevo Vallarta, that for a decade was used by the Marival Hotel as a parking lot. So far, the Nayarit government has been able to seize 70 lots of approximately 100 pieces of land in Bahía de Banderas. Now, how did Nayarit manage to lose so much land without noticing? Well, I suppose we have to wait for the mini-series to come out. Can you imagine a mini-series or a musical of the Nayarit land? I cannot, actually. I don't even know why I said that. Let's look at the weather. I see your question, Kelly, and I'll return it to you with another question. Let me actually take care of the weather, and we'll get to that. See, I'm going to touch base on some of this later. NASA deliberately smashing a spaceship into an asteroid sounds like the inciting incident of a sci fi channel original movie. My thoughts exactly when I was watching the crash last night, high as a kite. We'll get into that in a second. But right now, it is 27 degrees, feels like 30. Humidity is not as bad as yesterday, only 93%. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees, of course, is 80. Our weather forecast for today says it'll rain until morning. Maybe it rained this morning. I didn't see any wetness out there. And it'll start raining again in the evening with a high of 32 and a low of 25. Tomorrow, Wednesday, rain until morning, starting again in the evening with a high of 31 and a low of 24. And Thursday, possible light rain in the afternoon with a high of 32 and a low of 24. We're just zipping through all this today and moving right along. What do we have next? Yes, just a little factoid. Of course, critics have wasted no time in going after the Mexico City government after allegedly splurging in a massive concert in the Zócalo attended by a record-breaking 280,000 people this past weekend. Mexico City's chief of government, Claudia Sheinbaum, was quick to clarify that Grupo Firme, the band that performed, footed most of the bill, and the city government paid only for logistics, security, and such at the tune of 2.5 million pesos. But this amount, apparently, was less than 5% of the total cost of the event. So everything else was donated by the band. Take that, critics. And last but not least, again, not related to Puerto Vallarta, but last night, in case you were not watching and in case you're not a space geek like I am, NASA deliberately crashed a spacecraft into an asteroid yesterday. And it was really fun to watch the replay because, the spacecraft had camera. So you can see the spacecraft approaching this thing. And all of a sudden it was really close and you could see the details. And then all of a sudden, boom, it was destroyed. Why would NASA do this? Well, they wanted to test our ability to deflect an asteroid should Earth ever have to do this. But this sounded really profound when they were talking about it last night. This is the first time that NASA or our planet messes up with other celestial bodies. To this date, we've never really crashed anything onto anything else that I'm aware of, at least not an asteroid. So I kept thinking to myself last night, again, I was not working with all thrusters. And I kept thinking to myself, well, NASA has made a mess in the universe. Like Luna used to make messes when she was young. She would, break things and then she would just look at me and say, you broke something. What's going to happen next? So we don't know if this is the moment in which, higher powers come out of the universe to say, Earthlings, what are you doing? I'm just being silly because it's Tuesday. The end. That was not as fun as I thought it would be. What can I tell you? Oh, and yesterday, now this was more fun than I thought it was going to be. Yesterday, I went into town unexpectedly. I went into town because yesterday was the only monthly meeting that the local yarn bender group has in the afternoon. The yarn benders are a bunch of really nice folk. Ladies, I didn't see any guys. There were 5 of us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us there. And 4 ladies and myself, we got together at the cigar factory for a couple of hours and crocheted and knitted together. This was a lot of fun, and I look forward to doing it again next month. And this, of course, brings me to your comments. Let's see what everybody is up to. Actually, let me scratch my eye because I seem to have something that is making me blink. A lot of good mornings. I love to see your good mornings. From Versalles, from Bill. How are your puns doing, Bill? Now that you're going to be the new Raymond, how are your puns going? Oh my goodness, our dear friend Noy, the former chef at Daiquiri Dix, is watching from Bangkok. My little sister. How are you, Noy? I hope your pursuits are doing great all the way in Bangkok. Shouldn't you be going to sleep now? It's late. Let's see. Jimmy watches all the time on YouTube. First time watching live. Fantastic. Coming to Vallarta for a short visit in January, then back in May for at least 1 year. Cannot wait. Gracias, amigo. Well, Jimmy, it is a pleasure to have you here. From your comment, I gather that you have been in Puerto Vallarta before, but once you get ready to spend a whole year in Puerto Vallarta, if you have any questions about logistics and things like that, this is the place to be. We will be happy to tackle your concerns and questions. Let's see what else. More good mornings, more good mornings, and more good mornings. This one from Punta Negra. Hello, Luis. Oh my goodness. See, that was my problem last night. I ate oatmeal cookie and I got baked. That's exactly what happened to me last night. Let's see. Yay. Yes. Okay. I was not going to talk about this until tomorrow, but yes, yesterday, Logan, our friend Julie, and I had an unscheduled lunch at Tuna Azul above Café San Angel in Olas Altas. What a wonderful seafood little restaurant. I was going to talk about this tomorrow, but as long as Logan brought it up, we had a great, great unexpected lunch at this seafood restaurant that was a very, very, very affordable for Olas Altas. It was just yummy. It is family owned, and if you haven't tried it, it is totally worth it. It is called Tuna Azul, and I will gladly share the Facebook page with you after the broadcast. I had 2 marlin tostadas, and the way they cooked marlin al pastor, kind of like the same way we eat tacos al pastor. And it was so good that I said to them, can you put this in a taco or a quesadilla? And they said, we can put it on anything you want. So I had a marlin quesadilla that was out of this world. Super, super yummy. Moving right along. Dave chimes in about Castillo de Chapultepec. Thank you very much for that. It is a gorgeous place. Question from Ashley. Unfortunately, Sage and I were unable to go to the meet and greet at Whiskey Kitchen. When will there be another opportunity to do the meet and greet again? We have one scheduled for November. We don't have a date just yet. So the next one that we know is going to happen in November unless something really extraordinary happens before that, and we will keep you posted should that be the case. Kelly, was Santa Barbara Street ever repaired? The answer is no. And as long as you're asking questions, I have a question for you. I am curious if you made it to that meeting that the U.S. Embassy, the U.S. Consulate rather, scheduled in, I believe it was in Marina Vallarta, while we were meeting and greeting. And if you went, I'm wondering if there was something important or relevant that that you might want to share with the rest of us. As a matter of fact, I saw a photograph of the consul, the U.S. consul, taking a photograph with our mayor in an unrelated news item. So I thought about you. Let's see. Spencer has a good question. I'm curious, how can I watch a previous presentation from several weeks ago, like Cajón de Peña and things like that? I understand I can retrieve several in the more like this section, however, only the past week's section. Thank you. Well, I have an answer for you, and I'm going to make it happen. And what I'm doing right now is pulling up the website. Let me put it up on the screen. Yes, there we go. Here is our website. And if you notice right here, there is a search box. So you search in that box. For example, you mentioned Cajón de Peña. Cajón. I'm going to write Cajón de. And I'm going to look at the results. And it shows that we talked about Cajón de Peña in June 22nd, 2021. And also in May 19, 2022. So the search button on the website should take care of this for the most part. Let's see what else. da 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 da. Da 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 da. Sage adds another answer, which is also helpful. You can look them up on the YouTube channel. There you go. Catherine, are you back? Are you back? Catherine says we haven't crashed anything on purpose. There you go. But now we crashed this thing. And this is a good pun, Sage. I bet NASA's insurance rates just went astronomical. That is delicious. Thank you very much. Let's see. Café de olla. Cigar Factory has the best café de olla. Well, not only that, Dave, but they have air conditioning. There's nothing worse than handling yarn with sweaty, sticky fingers. So at home here where we don't have air conditioning, I stick to crocheting very early in the morning and very late in the evening this time of year because fingers get sticky. Let's see. Oh, no, I miss you all the time. Please let me know if you have any visits scheduled to Puerto Vallarta so that you can see with your own eyes the very strange transformation Daiquiri Dix went through. Joshua, I can do that. Can someone put me in contact with a singer from the last meet and greet? That was Luis Villanueva. He has a Facebook page, I am sure. And if I forget to send you a private message, just send me a private message and I will be happy to find his Facebook credentials for you. Sage is pushing her luck. I love it. A pun is a rare medium. Well done. Good. Lovely. Let's see what else. Bill chimes in about tuna azul. I will have to try it out. Thanks for the recommendation. Always looking for good fresh seafood. Well, for me, I have to say, and I could be wrong, but that part of Emiliano Zapata is not an area where you are likely to find very affordable food because you're in the middle of the vacation tourism area. And I don't mean to shun. I don't mean to criticize restaurants that are more expensive, but if you know of affordable food places in Olas Altas or thereabouts, feel free to mention them. I was very surprised, and pleasantly so, to find this restaurant. I have an early 1930s recipe for brownies. Would you like to compare or share? I've added my touch to the recipe. Actually, Spencer, I am perfectly fine with what I have. And let's see, we now have two pun meisters. I know. We're going to have a competition. Charlie, you were next on my list for today. Charlie and his wife moved to Puerto Vallarta, and on their vehicle, they transported some yarn for me to inherit and to repurpose. And I do mean repurpose because it is a lot of yarn. I was very grateful to receive it, and I'm very grateful to sort it out and categorize it. So I will keep a stash of it and put it to good use, and I will share some of it with fellow yarners that I know of. Thank you very much for that lovely gift. Much appreciated. And that is the unexpected gift that I was talking about yesterday. I spent most of my day Sunday looking at beautiful balls of yarn in many different colors and just being happy. It was a great Sunday. Thank you very much, Charlie and Mrs. Charlie, for that beautiful gift. And this, of course, brings us to another comment for tuna azul. Thank you very much, Suzanne. We love tuna azul. We eat there every time we visit Puerto Vallarta. Well, that's a fascinating thing about our city. In case you haven't noticed, it's a big city. Almost 300,000 people live here, and that means there's a lot of restaurants out there to try. So even though tuna azul has been there for a while, it's nice to know that there is yet another restaurant that we can count on. Oh, Marie, I am so sorry to hear that. I was recently robbed while in my home right here in Versalles. Be diligent. Unfortunately, this can happen This has happened to many of us. This has happened to me. So just make sure that you are safe and you are careful. And this, of course, brings us to the end of our broadcast. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is hump day. I'm not sure what we're going to do tomorrow just yet, but between now and then, stay happy, stay kind, stay healthy, stay careful, and stay mindful and stay in touch. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.